I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Hello, American Patriots, and welcome to another edition of the Douglas Ducote Show. You got many places you could be tonight, but chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Thank you very, very much. Hurricane Ian made landfall in southwest Florida yesterday afternoon around 3 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time with 156 mile per hour sustained winds and produced hundreds of tornadoes with winds up to 300 miles per hour, according to the National Weather Service. What is going to be left there, we're finding out now as daybreak came, and we're able to see the devastation. Sadly, there's so many roads out and bridges out. It's going to take a lot of helicopters from our military to get in there and figure it all out, which is taking place now. The hurricane left 2.6 million people without power is the estimate at the moment. Death and injury counts is not known yet, but will be very devastating as first responders get into areas of destruction. Ian was then downgraded to a tropical storm after hitting Florida, but remained pretty much a Category 1 until it was almost into the Atlantic, where it became a tropical storm, but then ramped back up to a Category 1 hurricane again as the eye crossed into the Atlantic. And it is now expected to make another landfall, this time in South Carolina. Currently at a Category 1, but that's supposed to be possibly updated later this evening as hurricane hunters from Keesler Air Force Base in Biloxi, Mississippi go back into the storm. National Guard, the active duty military, and FEMA have already staged convoys with vehicles and aircraft, are now heading into the area with medical supplies, food, water, and such. I would like to say that we have heard from our moderator, Doc, that's down there, and he and his family did fine. They're okay. I've also heard from some of my friends, not all of them, that are okay. And I've heard from 2 of my family members that are okay and have not heard from the rest yet. So keep all those in Florida and all those that were affected by this storm in your thoughts and prayers. This next story it's actually sad. It's elder abuse as far as I'm concerned. I've been talking for quite some time now about Joe Biden's mental decline. And look, I'm not making fun of anybody with any kind of mental illness. Don't get off your panties all in a wad, you far left liberal freaks. But it's obvious the man has something going on, whether it's dementia or some other type of medical condition, but he's saying things that are just absolutely nuts. You can find them all over YouTube if you just Google it, Biden gaffe, again, or anywhere on the internet. I'm going to read you the report directly from CNN, so liberals and Democrats can go there and check it out if they think I'm full of shit. President Joe Biden, Mr. Gaffe Machine. His latest slip-up is a whopper. Speaking at the White House Conference on Hunger, Nutrition, and Health yesterday, Biden tried to acknowledge the presence of Representative Jackie Wolski, despite the fact that the Indiana Republican had died in a car crash back in August. Jackie, are you here? Where's Jackie? And he did this as he's looking out in the office, on the audience. I think she wasn't going to be here to help make this a reality, Biden said. The White House sought to play off the odd moment as nothing more than Congresswoman was on the top of his mind. There will be a bill signing in the honor this coming Friday. So, of course, she was on his mind, said White House press secretary. She was on top of the president's mind. Which, sure, everyone makes mistakes. But that's a pretty big mistake to make. And unfortunately for Biden, it plays right into the Democrats' hands, led by former President Donald J. Trump, who has long painted him as having some type of mental decline. This guy doesn't have a clue. He doesn't know where the hell he's at, Trump said of Biden during the 2020 campaign. This guy doesn't know he's alive. At another point, Trump said, Biden is shot. I'm telling you, he's shot. There's something going on there. And there is when you're trying to find dead people. That's not a gaffe. That's not just a mistake. That is obvious signs of mental decline. And he's doing it. It used to be once or twice a month. Then it became once or twice a week. And now it's almost every day. The man says things that just are crazy, or says things that aren't true, like when he said he had cancer. And his doctors have reported that he's never had cancer. So, I don't know. All I know is that for them to allow him to continue to be the face of the United States of America is it's elder abuse to allow that to happen. He is a train wreck taking place right in front of us. And nobody seems to give a damn on the Democrat Party. Now, I'll throw out a wrench out there to them because I think it's because they don't want Kamala Harris because they know what will happen if she becomes the president. And they know how far left she is aligned with those like AOC and Alejandro Mar and Rashid Tlaib and Anita Presley, those far left Democrats. Speaking of Harris and speaking of gaffes, this is a good one. Vice President Harris can't find her way to our southern border, even though she's been put as the czar in charge of securing it. But she can find her way to the border with South and North Korea, where she went. And during a speech right there at the DMZ, she said, and I quote, "The United States shares a very important relationship, which is an alliance with the Republic of North Korea." Neither one of them. Look, I'll make mistakes all the time. All right. I say things sometimes, that I got wrong. We all make mistakes. But to my knowledge, Camilla's mistakes are just stupid. Like she's a different person, let's say. She's way over her head in the position she's in. And Biden's mistakes aren't mistakes. To his handlers out there, stop it. Just stop it. He looks like a fool to the world. And now we have people like Iran and North Korea, China, that are noticing that. Russia, and they're doing stupid shit because they know they can get away with it because we have a leader that is not mentally capable of dealing with them or anyone else. So sadly, the president of the United States really isn't running this country. I'm not sure who it is, but it's not him. And the nuclear football is nowhere near his ability to activate. Trust me, they've already removed that from his presence. I'm going to continue on with a story directly from CNN for you liberal freaks out there. Former Democrat Congressman Michael Ozzie Myers has been sentenced to 30 months in prison for federal election fraud dating back to 2014. The Justice Department said Tuesday, and was immediately taken into custody. Now, I commend the Justice Department and the FBI for taking down a Democrat. That's amazing. But guess what? There are Democrats saying and doing shit way worse than this guy did that are active members of Congress, and you people are doing nothing about it. Continuing on, Myers pleaded guilty this past June to conspiracy to deprive voters of civil rights, bribery, obstruction of justice, falsification of voting records, and conspiring to illegally vote in a federal election as part of a scam to stuff ballot boxes for certain Democrats. But yet, you hear from the left and the Democrats that there was no election fraud. Prove it. Well, the Department of Justice and the FBI have just proven it, and he's admitted to it, pleaded guilty, and he's going to prison. Prosecutors said some of the candidates were running to be judges and had hired Myers, who would use positions of consulting fees from his clients to pay others to interfere with election results. Myers, who had been expelled from Congress back in 1980 and served time in prison after taking bribes from an undercover FBI agent as part of an investigation, was also sentenced Tuesday to 3 years of supervised probation upon release in order to pay $100,000 in fines. Voting is the cornerstone of our democracy. If even one vote has been illegally cast, or if the integrity of just one election official is compromised, it diminishes faith in the process, U.S. Attorney Jacqueline Romero said in a statement. This defendant used his position, knowledge of the process, and connections to fix elections for his preferred candidates, which demonstrate a truly flagrant disregard for the laws which govern our elections. He will now spend at least 30 months in prison as penalty for his crimes. The message was echoed by Jacqueline McGuire, the special agent in charge of the FBI's Philadelphia division. Protecting the legitimacy of elections is critical to ensuring the public's trust in the process, she said. Through its actions, Ozzie Myers pointedly detained both the will of the Philadelphia voters and the rule of law. He's now a federal felon twice over, heading back behind bars, with time to consider the great consequences of free and fair elections, FBI Myers added. Finally, a Democrat is getting prosecuted. Not Hillary Clinton. This next one from CNN, liberals and Democrats. Former President Bill Clinton says there is a limit on how many migrants the U.S. can expect before it causes disruption. He also criticized moves by GOP governors to transport migrants into the interior as a stunt. Clinton spoke on a CNN podcast and was asked by the host, Fred Zachary, about economic migrants who are gaming the asylum system. There is a limit to how many migrants any society can take without service disruption and assistance. And our system is based much more on the assumption that things would be more normal, the former president said. There have been more than 2.1 million migrant encounters just this fiscal year, alone as a historic border crisis continues to ravage the southern border, prompting Republican governors to bus and fly migrants deeper into the interior to sanctuary cities. There are more than 200,000 migrant encounters
in August alone. And that's just the ones we got. Triple that got through. Clinton said that when he was a boy and a young man, Mexican migrants would move back and forth across the border to work in agriculture, and it worked for people. But he conceded that the situation now was very different and troubling. It's an old story, but now you've got the largest number of refugees since World War II because of Syria and now Ukraine and other problems, he said. Clinton also noted the recent surge in migrants from Venezuela that have increased in recent months, while also taking a shot at Texas Governor Greg Abbott for busing migrants to New York City, Washington, D.C., and Chicago, although failing to condemn the Biden administration, who's been doing the exact same thing. So a Democrat can do it, and it's okay. But a Republican governor does exactly what the Democrat president's doing. How dare he? Went on to say what's happening in Venezuela, more than 2 million refugees pouring into first Colombia and then nearby countries, has created unprecedented new challenges and meanwhile provides opportunities for stunts like Governor Abbott sending his refugees to some places that he thinks is advocating for broader minded policies that it doesn't have to live with, he said. Texas has bused more than 10,000 migrants to 3 sanctuary cities, sparked outrage and calls for help from the federal government from those local cities. Texas inundated border towns are now receiving a measure of relief, and importantly, the magnitude of this ongoing crisis is finally gaining the national attention it deserves, Abbott said in a recent op-ed. Americans are now witnessing the sterling national security failure that the President Biden continues to dismiss. Clinton also discussed Florida Governor Ron DeSantis' recent move to fly migrants to Martha's Vineyard, a wealthy liberal vacation hotspot, while failing to mention again that Biden administration has been doing the exact same damn thing. And then Governor DeSantis sending those people to Martha's Vineyard was amazing. That may come back to haunt him a little bit, Clinton predicted. I don't think so. Not as much as Monica Lewinsky's come back to haunt you. Let's talk about that dumbass by the name of Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, aka AOC, shall we? Decided to reveal some uncomfortable personal information during a House Oversight Committee hearing about abortion, specifically regarding her personal method of birth control that nobody wanted to hear, before going into a question about treatment of ectopic pregnancies. New York Democrat noted that such circumstances can arise from the failure of an IUD device. AOC also decided to announce that she uses one herself, blaming Republicans for the nature of the abortion debate. For example, since Republicans are forcing this conversation in uncomfortable ways, then I will beat them to it, Ocasio-Cortez said. I have an IUD. I've had one for years. The Congresswoman then discussed the possibility of ectopic pregnancies when IUDs failed to work and asked the witness that was there to testify in Congress, Dr. Bhavik Kumar, about what would happen in such a case in a state that has outlawed abortions when a woman's life is in danger. So the left is trying to pin this whole thing that women are going to die because of abortions. Would that mean that if I were hospitalized in these red states, you would have to wait until I was in the process of potentially or actively dying before you could effectively treat me and my or anyone in our position's life? AOC asked. To date, to my knowledge, there are no laws that outlaw care of those type pregnancies, said Kumar, who is the medical director for primary and trans care at Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast. Misinformation about not treating those type pregnancies spreads on the internet after some states banned abortion in the wake of the Supreme Court's decision. Some claim that women in those states could not legally get abortions until they were about to die. Kumar set the record straight, which AOC did not want to hear, by saying this was not the case, but did claim that there have been difficult situations due to confused doctors. The doctors are confused. What we've seen in Texas, because these laws are written by politicians and sometimes don't make sense and are difficult to grapple with the understanding by physicians who are practicing medicine, we have seen people denied access to that care and have actually seen somebody in Texas who left the state to get care for ectopic pregnancy, Kumar said. Now, let me help the Congresswoman understand something, and anyone on the left or Democrats that are confused about what is actually happening. Let's start with the number one lie that they're trying to push, and that is that a Republican-dominated Supreme Court banned abortions in America. That's lie number one. They did not ban abortions in America. Stop saying that shit. They kicked it back to the states where it belongs. That's where it was before they changed it 50-something years ago. It's the state's responsibility. So what we do know is that if you live in a blue state, one that's run by a Democrat governor, guess what? You don't want the baby? Go abort the baby. If you live in a red state, you're going to have to go to a blue state to have that done. Lie number two. Anytime the mother's life is in danger and she may die, there ain't a single doctor, legal doctor, with any type of moral compass that is not going to take that child out to save the mother's life. That's basic medical 101. They want you to believe that if somebody has an ectopic pregnancy, we're just going to wait till the mother's about to die before we save her. That's absolute nonsense. And if you believe it, well, you're as dumb as they are. While we're on that subject, Planned Parenthood doctor told a House hearing Thursday, today, that men can get pregnant and have babies. Here we go again. Men can have pregnancies, especially trans men, said Dr. Kumar, the same idiot we were just talking about. Medical director of primary and trans care at Planned Parenthood Gulf Coast. Kumar was testifying at a House Oversight and Reform Committee hearing called by Democrats to discuss how restricting abortions can harm patients. He was replying to a question from Representative Andrew Clyde, Republican Georgia, who interrupted Kumar and specified that he was asking if biological men can become pregnant. Somebody with a uterus may have the capability of becoming pregnant, whether they're a woman or a man, Kumar said. That doesn't make a difference. And Clyde then replied, okay, we're done. Because you're a freaking idiot. Not every person with a uterus has the ability to become pregnant, Kumar continued. This is medicine. Clyde rejected the answer and said basic biology holds that men and women have different chromosomes that make the two sexes different and gives only women the option of bearing children. I can't believe it's necessary to say this, but men cannot get pregnant and cannot give birth, regardless of how they identify themselves, Clyde said. Why in the world would Democrats have brought in a person whose title is Director of Trans Care for an abortion hearing when only biological women can become pregnant. Clyde pressed another witness whether fetal heartbeat can be heard at 6 weeks of pregnancy, after Stacey Abrams, a Democrat candidate to be the next governor of Georgia, her second attempt, said there is no such thing as a heartbeat that early, and parents are only hearing a malfunctioning sound when they get an ultrasound. Georgia, if you vote this dumbass into office to be your next governor, then you're fucked because she's a complete and utter idiot. Clyde asked Dr. Nashia Verma, a fellow at Physicians of Reproduction Health, whether a fetal heartbeat is a manufactured sound. Verma declined to answer his yes or no answer or question. I'd love to answer your question, but like so many things in medicine, it's complicated, she said. No, it's not complicated, you frickin' far left nut job. It's not complicated. Just like men having babies, it's not complicated. When pressed again, she said, I'd love to answer that, but I can't at this time. Democrats and their witnesses used the hearing to stress the importance of making abortion as accessible as possible. Both witnesses and lawmakers argued that the Supreme Court decision to strike down Roe v. Wade is allowing states to impose abortion bans that limit women's freedoms. Yet they failed to say the court did not ban abortions. They just placed it into the state's choices. Care for an abortion, go to any Democrat blue state, and they will be more than happy to terminate your baby's life. Now, I've talked in the past about this whole men getting pregnant crap that's coming out of the left's mouth. And look, I get it. Some of you liberal men and liberal Democrat men, I'm sure you've had a bowel movement or two in your life where you thought, oh my God, I'm giving birth. This is horrible. It's painful. I've got cramps, whatever. But guess what? You didn't produce a baby out your ass, nor are you ever going to be able to. The only, quote, men or males that can have a baby were born a biological female with female reproduction organs. And when they got their sex change, they didn't remove those organs. Therefore, no matter what they fucking call themselves, they still can push a baby out if they have the reproduction organs they were born with. But a biological male doesn't have that capability, nor do we have the medical knowledge to take that, for instance, if you will anything on your body in the event of your death, to science or to help save another life. There is no way known to medical science to take the reproduction organs out of a woman and surgically implant them in a man. It doesn't work that way. So it doesn't matter what you call yourself. If you were born Jenny and you call yourself now Craig, call yourself whatever you want. Identify however you want to identify. Identify as this fucking water bottle. But you can't produce a baby if you are a man. So to say that a person that's trans that was born a biological female and now identifies as a man can have a baby, yeah, because you still have the biological things that came into your body when you were born. It doesn't make you a man. Never. It's not possible. But the left keeps pushing this agenda. And then if you counter it and say that goes against everything known to science and medicine on planet Earth, then that makes you a racist bigot. And oh, you hate trans people. I don't hate trans people. I don't hate gay or lesbians. I don't hate anybody in the LGBT community. You do whatever the hell you want to do. But a man can't produce a baby. So stop that. That's, y'all don't even realize how crazy that makes you sound. The world's watching and listening to you babble like a complete and utter idiot, and now in front of Congress. I don't know. There's no way we're ever going to get past this. We're not going to get past the abortion thing either. They're just going to continue to tell lies, continue to misrepresent facts, continue to say things that are so far out there that if you try and understand the reasoning, if you mentally try and understand what they're or why they're saying this, well, don't. Because your blood pressure will rise so high that blood will probably start shooting out of your nose, your ears, your mouth, and your eyes. It's that insane. It just can't happen. But yet they keep saying it over and over and over again. It's just like the gun debate. There are no bad guns. They're not. There's bad people. Bad people make the decisions. Criminals. That's why they call them that. They don't care about your laws. They don't care what law you pass. Pass any damn law you want. They don't care. They're going to break them. If they can't get their hands on a gun, they're going to use a knife and go stab people to death. That's happening all the time now. Or they're going to use a car and run people over. It's happening every day. Watch the fucking news, for crying out loud. If that don't work, oh hell, they'll hijack airplanes and fly them into fucking buildings. The gun, loaded or unloaded, a bullet in the chamber or in the clip, is not going to do anything by itself. It takes a human to pick it up and do something with it that's against the laws. That's why they call them criminals. They don't give a shit about your laws. And where do most of these horrible crimes take place? Oh, let me think. Drum roll. Gun-free zones. Schools, for instance. Because guns are banned there. You don't think the criminal knew that? But you can't reason with these people. It's not possible. You can try. You're only going to drive yourself insane. I mean, literally, it's some of the shit that's coming out of the left and the Democrats. I laugh at it. You can't help but laugh at it. I share it in a text to my friends, or they find something and share it in a text to me. It's like, what is going on here? What's next? They're going to come out and say that shift changers are possible? That you can just shift into a wolf and then switch back into a human? Why not say that? Why not lie about something like that? Yeah, you've seen it in the movies. Because it's not true. It can't happen. But it's just as fucking crazy as the rest of the stuff that's coming out of their mouths. So, hey, what are you going to do? Anyhow, look, I'm going to going to be a short show tonight because I've got a lot of things that are going on right now in my life that I have to deal with at the moment. Nothing bad, just things that need my attention tonight. So I will go focus on that. I thank you for joining me for tonight's show. I hope that you will subscribe to the channel. I hope that you will share my videos and let other people know about the Douglas Ducote Show. From time to time, I have guests on the show. And this few days ago, I had Congressman Clay Higgins on the show. You can go back and you can look at some of the videos I've produced in the past, and you will find some great American patriots that I've interviewed throughout my time doing this. And I will continue to do that from time to time. If you haven't done so, please go to douglasducote.com and check out our website. You can also find out more information about me there in the facts. And you can also find the facts about me in the community section here and also in the About Me section. And hell, if you don't think that adds up, then you go to my personal Facebook page and you can see everything's open for the public, actual pictures of me doing things that they claim I don't or can't or never did. Or it's absolutely crazy to listen. I mean, I used to hear, before I started doing this, I used to hear all the time about how the far left attacks those that go on YouTube and with a conservative view or Republican view, and they make up all kinds of shit about them and they lie about them and da-da-da, And of course I heard that, but I had it didn't register how crazy this is until I started doing this show. And it just proves that I'm over the target, because as we get closer to midterms, as we get closer to elections, the last thing they need is someone like me with a voice talking to you, the American patriots of this country. Anyhow, please keep all those in Florida in your thoughts and prayers as we go through the next few days. Sadly, we're going to find many people have lost their lives. Many people have been injured, and many have lost their homes and everything they owned and are in need. In the future, I'll be coming out with ways that you can help to donate to those causes that are good and not out there to rip off people and put money in their own damn pocket, which happens after every damn natural disaster. So pay close attention to that, and I will let you know where you can make donations to legitimate places that will actually get the money and the supplies into the hands of those that need it. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders and their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America. Thank you all for joining me. Please keep Florida in your thoughts and prayers, and I'll see you again very soon. Good night, everyone.